Hi, welcome back to the newest snippet from Follet, the video novel. This is the first part of chapter 10, and it is for adults only. It is not safe for work or children. If you'd like to share it with someone you love, sharing is always a good idea, and you both might enjoy this, but it is for adults. So, if you are not an adult, don't watch it. If you are an adult and would like to give it a try, we'll start in just a second. There's no pie in this snippet. There's no music in this snippet, but there is a whole lot of sex. So think about it, decide what you want to do, and we're happy to have you. Here we go. Mary and Follet began the morning as they had finished the night before, wrapped in each other. The sky outside their window was lightening, and the big bed held them in its comfortable embrace. Follet, Mary murmured. Follet replied by kissing her mouth, and then the tip of her nose, and then her eyelids, before moving to kiss her forehead, and then her hair and an ear. He moved his lips lower to kiss the tip of her shoulder and placed 5 kisses on her collarbone in a row, from her shoulder to her sternum. "Good morning," he whispered, before moving his attentions down her chest, between her breasts, to her belly, pausing to stick his tongue into her navel and asking, "Hungry?" "Ravenous," Mary murmured, "but I'd like to try an appetizer here before breakfast," running her fingers through Follet's hair as he nibbled on her tummy. Mary crunched herself up so that she could slide her fingers down Follet's back as he continued his kisses. She eased her fingers over his spine, and then just before his waist she let them fall off to his sides and under him, raking his ribs with her fingertips and then up a little further to flick at his nipples. Follet rolled over onto his left side, and Mary wriggled around to lie facing him on her right side. She let the fingertips of her index and middle fingers of her left hand trace the outline of his left nipple. She swirled her touch around and around with as much pressure as a feather landing on his skin there. She moved her head so that she could kiss his nipple, to enfold it between her lips, their soft fullness so close to the wet warmth inside her mouth. So close. Mary let her lips lie on his aureole ever so gently and sucked his hard little nipple, nursing on him like a newborn babe. Follet sighed, and she knew that he had closed his eyes to revel in this delicate gift. She drew his nub into her, relishing his taste and texture as much as his response and his acceptance and his honesty. That he trusted her so much was very stimulating. She felt her nipples harden at the thought of it. She took her mouth from his chest, moved to bend herself over him, and placed her kisses one by one, along his ribs, following them to where they met his spine. She moved around so that she now hovered above the long ridge of the bone that ran from his skull to his ass. Mary looked down on Follet, her eyes following the strength of his shoulders, the bunch of the powerful muscles of his arms, the curves of his ribs, the sweet dimples at the small of his back, just above the delicious cleft between the muscular cheeks of his ass. She moved her hands almost touching him, so near. They were as stars pulled together in a circling dance, unseen, but with undeniable gravity pulling them together. "Lie on your belly, spread your legs, and put your arms out to your sides," Mary told Follet. She moved to straddle him just above his hips, one leg on either side of him. She leaned forward, putting both of her hands out to either side of him to support her. Then she lowered her face to him. She closed her eyes to seek his bouquet, earthy, salty, slightly nutty sweet, and crisp, with a tantalizing trace of honest sweat. Mary lowered her mouth to Follet's back, covering him there with an embrace of soft, juicy kisses. "I might have missed a few spots last night." "It's good to be thorough," Follet agreed. He lay face down on the bed, spread-eagled, at her pleasure. Mary agreed. "Put your knees under you and put your ass in the air, but leave your upper chest on the bed and turn your face to the side," she told him. Follet did as he was told. He could feel her move so that she was kneeling next to his left hip. She ran her right hand lightly over his buttocks and then slapped him hard on his right cheek. Mary took her hands and spread his buttocks to expose his anus. "Spread your knees wider apart." Follet did. He kept his head down and turned to his left so that he could see some of what Mary was doing. She reached onto the Windsor chair that was still at the bedside and picked up the little silver bottle. She unscrewed the cap, put it back onto the tray, and poured a few drops under the tips of the index and middle fingers of her right hand. Then she held the little bottle in her right hand and poured a puddle of the slick liquid into the palm of her left hand. She placed the little bottle back onto the tray in the chair. "Arch your back a little," she told him, "so that your ass sticks up in the air." Follet did. Mary spread his cheeks with her left hand and placed the index and middle fingers of her hand softly on his anus. She rubbed the fingers in a circular motion, coating the little sphincter muscle with the slippery lubricant. Follet smelled rich coffee. Mary felt his response to the stimulating aroma. "Remember, the lube is cappuccino flavored. To help you wake up," she said. She removed her left hand from his ass and let it trail past his hip and over the top of his thigh until her fingers wrapped around his cock. Her right thumb touched the slick tips of her middle and index fingers and pushed insistently against his anus. Follet moaned, and Mary moved her head to place her lips in the small of his back, leaving a wet spot with her spit. Mary stroked Follet again and again. She rotated the fingers of her right hand and demanded entry to his secret place. She let her middle finger slide ahead of the other two fingers and inserted her slippery digit into him just to her first joint. She pressed it up toward his back and then slid it out of him. Mary moved her left hand down Follet's cock toward his bulging tip. She could feel it pulsing and growing warmer and warmer. She pulled her hand toward Follet's body and rotated her fingers around his shaft, and as she moved her left fist, she pushed the middle finger on her right hand deeper into him. She rotated her right hand so that her thumb could search for his scrotum. She had to push deeper into him before she could finally brush her thumb against the fleshy sack that held his balls. Then she concentrated on stroking Follet's cock. She moved her hand slowly at first, and then more rapidly. By this time, Follet was panting and softly moaning. "Help me," she whispered to him. Follet moved his right hand to grasp his hard rod, and as he did so, Mary moved her left hand to circle the base of his cock with her fingers and squeeze him as he beat himself off. As Follet fucked his hand, Mary fucked Follet's ass with her fingers. She was able to push her middle finger as well as her index finger inside him all the way to her first joint. "Fuck me, Mary, fuck me," Follet told her in a whisper that might as well have been a shout. Mary slid her fingers out of Follet's ass deliberately and purposefully, and then she pushed them deeper inside him again. Follet was getting close. As Mary squeezed the base of his pulsing penis, Follet gasped, "I want to come in your mouth." Mary pulled her fingers out of him and let go of his cock, twisting herself to slide underneath his stroking hand. Just as she wriggled beneath him, Follet moaned again and spewed globs of semen onto her lips, cheeks, chin, and as he lost his hardness, her throat. "A pearl necklace, Follet, my favorite," Mary chuckled. "In my family, pearls can only be given, never purchased. I will cherish your special present." And she raised her head to kiss the source of Follet's gift. Follet was panting and his heart was racing. After a minute, he was composed enough to fall onto his side. When he did, Mary moved into his arms. She held him softly and threw her right leg over his hip. She took her left index finger and wiped Follet's spunk from her lips and rubbed it on into Follet's. Then she wiped her sweet musky goo from her cheeks and chin and licked her finger clean. Finally, she wiped his cum from her neck with her right hand and rubbed the stickiness into Follet's neck. Follet's eyes were closed, luxuriating in this extraordinary ecstasy. Mary wriggled within Follet's embrace so that she could move her head to his armpit. She pushed her nose under his arm to breathe his scent. No perfume exhilarated her like his musk. They lay quietly together for a while. Mary said, "Follet?" "Mary?" "Yes, it's me," she giggled. "Were you expecting someone else?" No one else will do." Mary nuzzled into his chest. "We should get on the road. There's something, I'm not sure what, but it's there, and it's important." "I know, Follet, I feel it too." Mary kissed his chest and wriggled out of his embrace. "I'll take a quick shower, and then you can clean up. We can get something to eat and be on our way." And she left him and walked into the bathroom, leaving the door open so that Follet could glimpse her ablutions. She was finished in 15 minutes, and Follet jumped off the bed as she came out of the bathroom. As they passed, Follet gently slapped her ass. "Follet!" Mary squeaked, laughing and spinning away. "See you soon," Follet said, spinning around before he entered the bathroom. He too left the door open for Mary to enjoy. Follet walked out when he was clean. Mary was sitting on the bed, her right leg tucked under her left, wearing a pink long-sleeve button-down cotton shirt, very, very short denim cutoffs, and brown water buffalo leather hippie sandals. She wore no jewelry. Her long hair was tied back with a red bandana into a ponytail. "You're very beautiful, Mary," Follet told her. She smiled. "I feel pretty." Follet pulled on faded jeans, a blue work shirt, white socks, and finally a pair of black Doc Martens. He had to thread the laces into the last couple of eyelets. He grabbed a black waxed cotton Bellstaff motorcycle jacket from the back of the love seat. "Breakfast?" he asked. "Absolutely," she said.